going back to our problem here, same facts as last time. Hopefully by now you have walked your way through the T accounts and you have filled them out accordingly. You have your T accounts filled out. Well, now we will move on to the journal. So what is the journal? The journal is essentially the same thing, but we are going to group transactions by date. We're essentially going to repeat the same process, but we're going to do it by date this time. So under the facts, on April 16th, Bell deposited $100,000 in the bank account for purposes of starting up the firm. So $100,000 cash went up, $100,000 of equity went up. So we're going to go to our journal and we're going to put this in order of date. April 16th. First we put debits and then we put credits. That is always how debits and credits work. So our debit comes from the cash. Cash, real account, asset. It's going up with a debit. So we're going to debit cash $100,000. Well, now our credit comes from equity, in this case capital stock, but you can call it equity. And so we're going to put the credit next. The credit is obviously going to be on the left side, and that's $100,000. Now, one thing that you should learn to do is that the credit doesn't go here. It actually is slightly indented, and it goes here. That way it creates a visual as to which one is the debit and which one is the credit. And that's pretty much it. Now, you leave a line blank without writing anything, and you move on to the next transaction, as long as it refers to the next day. If it was still April 16th, we would keep going down without skipping lines. So on April 17th, Bell bought equipment for $28,000 cash and land for $64,000 cash. So we have two amounts of cash going out, 28 and 64. They total up $92,000. So we're going to have a $92,000 cash decrease. Cash is a real account, asset, up with a debit, down with a credit. So cash is going to give us our credit. Our debits are going to come from the fact that we have two assets going up, equipment and land. So we're going to debit equipment 28, debit land 64, credit cash 92. So let's go to our journal here. We're going to write April 17th. We're going to debit equipment and debit land and credit cash. We're going to debit equipment 28. We're going to debit land 64. We're going to credit cash 92. As you can see, the total of our debits and credits per transaction have to equal, always. So now let's see what else we have going on. April 17th, Bell bought the building on top of the land for $96,000. He made a down payment of $30,000. Just like before what we did with the T accounts, we have $30,000 cash going out. That's a decrease, real account cash, asset, up with the debit, down with the credit. So the $30,000 is going to give us a credit. The debit is going to come from the fact that the land goes up. It's an asset, real asset, up with a debit, $96,000. And let's go put that so far into the journal. So April 17th, we have land going up 96,000. And if I just stopped right here and credited cash 30, obviously my debit and my credits don't add up. So what am I short in order for debits and credits to add up? I am short a $66,000 credit. So you can rest assured the next one's going to be a $66,000 credit. But where does it come from? It comes from the fact that we took on a mortgage. A mortgage is a debt. A debt goes on the balance sheet. It is a real account, real liabilities. Debts go down with a debit and up with a credit. Since the debt is going up, it gives us the credit that we need. So here will be our mortgage payable. And just like the T accounts, you would continue here going down the list until you have journalized all the transactions. So just like